This is the instructional video on how to make the Sparkling Bling bracelet. This bracelet contains 4mm bicone crystals and 3mm bicone crystals. To get started, you will be starting by placing a stop bead on your string. So once you have strung your thread through your needle, you will use one of the 4mm bicone crystals to create a stop bead at the end of your string. You will eventually be taking this bead off once you finish your project. So the stop bead is just placed on the end so that you can begin working and not risk your project sliding down to the end of the string. So you want to leave some room at the end of your string. You want to leave about 8 inches at the end. So you don't want to slide the bead all the way down to the end. So once you get the bead placed about 8 inches from the end, you want to go back through the bead with your needle just like this. And once you pull this through, you're gonna create a stop bead because that string is now going back through the bead and the bead won't slip down. So you can start stringing your beads and the stop bead will prevent your beads from slipping off the end of the string. So now we're going to begin the actual bracelet. So we're going to start with 2 of the 4mm bicones, which will be at the center of our bracelet. Now if you have ordered our 6mm kit, you will be using the 6mm bicones to start this project out. So you're going to slide 2 of the 4mm main color beads onto your string to start out your project. Now you're going to be picking up 3 of the seed beads, 1 of the 3mm bicones, the clear 3mm, and then 3 more seed beads. So we'll start by picking up 3 clear seed beads. Now we're going to pick up a 3mm bicone. And we're going to pick up 3 more seed beads. So we've got 3, 1, and 3. We're going to slide those down. And now you want to take your needle and you want to go back up through the 2 bicones, not the stop bead, but the 2 4mm bicone crystals with your needle. Just like this. And you're going to pull that thread until you have pulled those seed beads tight, and it's going to create a little half circle just like you see on one side of your 4mm bicones, the blue crystals. And now you're going to repeat this process one more time. So you're going to pick up 3 seed beads, another 3mm bicone, and 3 more seed beads. So we have the same pattern again, 3, 1, and 3. And we're going to take that needle back through those 2 center blue bicones again. So we're going to do the same thing we just did with those first seed beads and bicone. We're not going through the stop bead. And make sure you don't get any of the seed beads in the needle when you're going through. You pull that tight, and you're going to create the other half of that circle. So now around those 2 seed beads, you've got kind of a little circle, two semicircles surrounding that center. Kind of pull it tight a little bit, and this is our first step. We have created our first circle with the seed beads around the center crystals. Now you're going to pick up one more of the 4mm blue bicone crystals, and it's going to look like this. So you're only picking up one this time. And now you're going to repeat the pattern. 3 of the seed beads, 1 of the clear 3mm bicone crystals, and again 3 more of the seed beads. Now there's the pattern. Here's where it gets a little tricky. You got to make sure that you put your needle up through the correct place in those center bicones. So you always want to go through 2 bicones. You want to go through the previous 2 bicones. So those are the 2 bicones you want to go through. You want to stick your needle in between right there. So you're going to hold your project so that you can get your needle in between those 2 previous bicones that you went through. So going up right through that bicone and through the 4mm you just put on. Now see, the needle is through 2 of the center bicones, and you're going to pull your needle through, and you're creating the first half of the next circle. So you've got another half circle with your seed beads and your crystal, just like that. And now we're going to finish the other side of that circle. So we're going to do the other half circle with 3 seed beads, 1 more of the 3mm bicones, and 3 more seed beads. And we're going to go up through those same 2 bicone crystals that we just did. So the furthest 2 center bicones to what you're working on. So these are the 2 that we want to go through again. So again, put your needle through those 2 bicones and pull through, and now you're creating the other half of that second circle surrounding the bicones. And now you can see that you've got a second circle around the next 2 bicones. And this is the pattern that we're going to continue throughout this entire project. 1 more blue seed bead, and then we're going to continue with the other seed beads to create the circle. And we will do that until we have a completed bracelet to the length that you would like to have it. And this is what it'll look like as you continue this pattern. So a quick note as you're continuing this pattern, you want to make sure you keep your bracelet right side up, because it can be easy to flip it over and not realize it. So if you do that, your pattern of your circles will not be laying one on top of each other. So this is laying face up right now. You can see that the latest circle of seed beads is on top. So if I try to flip up one side of that circle, it comes up easily. Now if I flip the bracelet over, you can see it's upside down, and I cannot flip the most recent half circle up. So if you have it right side up, this is what it should look like. If you get it flipped upside down and you start beading, the pattern is not going to lay properly and you're going to have to undo your beads and start again. When you finish your bracelet, you want to remove that stop bead that we placed on the end when we started. So you want to actually take that off, and if you pull gently at a slight angle, you can just pull that bead down the string until it comes off. Because in order to finish this, we need to remove that stop bead. And so just keep pulling like this until it comes off the end, like that. And you will be ready to finish off that end of your bracelet. So to finish off each end of your bracelet, you want to pick up 3 seed beads after you thread your needle on. And you'll start with those 3 seed beads just to kind of give the end a little finishing look before you put your wire guardian and clasp. So we'll start with these 3 seed beads here. And then you're going to want to add your wire guardian. So the wire guardian has the 2 holes in it. You're going to go through each side separately. And again, this just protects the end of your bracelet so that the string doesn't get worn. So go through one side of the wire guardian with your needle. And that's what it will look like when you have half of it through. Now we're going to go through the other side of that wire guardian. And now we're ready to put on half of the magnetic clasp that goes on this end of the bracelet. So you're going to be doing this on both ends of your bracelet. So take that needle and put it through the loop of the magnetic clasp, that half of the magnetic clasp. And then you can kind of slide that clasp in through the wire guardian in the center, and that's what it will look like. And now you want to add 3 more seed beads on the other end. And now you're going to take that needle and go back up through those center 4mm bicone crystals, the blue crystals in the center. You kind of just want to go maybe through 2 of them. And once you get that needle through, then you're going to pull tightly. And you can see that that just finishes off the end of your bracelet really, really nicely. So that wire guardian is protecting the string as you wear the bracelet. So now what we need to do is we need to finish off that string. So we need to create some knots and make sure that this isn't going to come undone. So you can insert your needle right through the side there and underneath one of the threads. As you can see right there, it's underneath the thread between that center bicone and the seed bead. So you insert the needle there and you're going to create a loop. And you can see how that little loop is forming. Take your needle through the loop so you can create a knot. Just like that. And kind of tug and make sure that your knot is tight. And then you want to go back through some of the seed beads and continue to weave back through your project a little bit, because that's just going to make the ending of this bracelet that much more secure. So don't just stop with the one knot. Go back through your project a little bit. And then you're going to tie it off again, just so you're completely sure this project is not going to come undone. So I'm going back through one of the half circles, the 3 seed beads, and then the 3mm bicone, and then the 3 seed beads. I went back through. And now I'm going to stick my needle underneath that thread again and create another knot. And this is just going to make sure that your project is secure. So create another loop and put your needle back through that loop to create a knot. Just like this. Going through the center of that loop, and you're going to pull and pull tightly just to make sure that that knot is tight. And I'm going to do it a second time just to make sure again that this is secure. Create another loop and then go back through that loop with your needle to create a really good knot and tighten that again. And once you've done that, it's pretty secure. If you want to continue weaving back through your project, you may do that to make it as secure as you would like. If you would like to go through another half circle and do another couple knots, that's not gonna hurt to make it more secure. Once you're finished, you're going to cut the thread close to the last bead that you did, and that end of the bracelet is finished off. We've got our seed beads, wire guardian, and half of the magnetic clasp, and we're going to do this at both ends of our bracelet. If you do not like the magnetic clasps and you would prefer a toggle clasp, they look like this. One will go at each end of your bracelet. You may request that instead. It is the exact same process. Instead of putting the magnetic clasp through the wire guardian, you will just put the toggle, each end of the toggle on each end of the bracelet. So that is a possibility if you would like to request a toggle clasp and you like those better. Again, I prefer the magnets because I feel like they're so easy to get on. So you will repeat this tying off process at the other end. You're going to do your 3 seed beads, your wire guardian, the other half of your magnetic clasp, and you're going to go back through the beads, and you're going to again create some knots and tie off your bracelet. And then you will have finished the other end of your bracelet. You again want to cut that string close to the beads. And once you have done that, you have both ends of your bracelet finished. And it is going to be so pretty. These crystals sparkle so nicely, and the magnetic clasp is just so easy to put the bracelet on. And now you have a very professional looking, beautiful sparkling bling bracelet. This is Wendy with WK Beads. Thanks for watching.